Unanswered questions about Jason Voorhees.
Look at Jason's bitch ass. This is what you look like when the neighbors are fighting and you're trying to listen.
Number 1.
Is Jason eating and raw dogging people? Listen to this news report. Cannibalism? Sexual mutilations? Now this film dives into a part of Jason I don't really care for, so I won't go much into that, especially the flashback with Chris, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But this kind of goes back to my theory about part 2, where Jason had this weird fetish of these people with the shrine, and how he had to undress his mother. Again, he had his head, the sweater, and a pair of pants. This also plays into my next question, which we'll get to in a minute, but it really makes you wonder what exactly Jason did for survival. Is it so far-fetched to say Jason did eat his victims to some sort of capacity? I mean, he's a survivalist, right? So what exactly does he do for food? I won't backtrack on the shrine too much because I went in depth in part 2, but based on this news report, all the bodies are accounted for. I still consider this human Jason. To me, it's not until part 4 where Jason finally actually dies, and then becomes a zombie Jason or undead Jason in part 6. But again, if we're not breaking the fourth wall here, and we can't discredit or credit things outside of the film itself like deleted scenes, continuity errors, messed up writing, deleted scenes, novelizations, is there really more to the story about what Jason actually did in that shrine? I've always thought Jason killed his victims just to keep them out of his territory. But was he actually hunting them for food instead? And was Jason going full boing and sexually mutilating these bodies like the news report said? That's disgusting. We all know Jason's in the head, but is he really this in the head? That kind of brings a whole new light to about him undressing his mother and taking her remains. Surely to God he didn't do that to Pam too. This news report right here is probably a blink and you miss it moment, but if you try to investigate this gets pretty damn dark. But again, this is a whole nother side of Jason I don't want to see. But it still piques the question to me, did he really do this? I don't want to see Jason go full cornholio and see him raw dogging these dead bodies. That's not for me.
Number 2.
What's with a bathtub full of clothes? And better yet, who do these belong to? If I had to guess, it would be Chili. I'll throw up a side-by-side right here. Again, this is going into a territory of a perverse Jason, which I won't go into much. But after killing Chili, it really makes you think, why fill the bathtub up for one? And number 2, why are you undressing this person again? This intrigues me not because of the perverse side of things, but it really makes me question Jason's thought process. Like, is this a trap for Chris? Did he do this purposely so somebody could find it as a little game of cat and mouse? Now, stemming from part 2, we know Jason can kind of play the cat and mouse game, especially like he did with Jenny when he Goku teleported above the bed and tried to get Jenny. But this is a little bit different though, right? Like, this is premeditated, if that's what it is. If not, what is Jason's thought process about filling these bathtubs full of water and putting his victims' clothes in there? Surely to God, he didn't do this so he can have an all-you-can-eat buffet, and maybe Chili did live up to her name. Get it? Chili, whatever, fuck it. Or could it be just survival instincts? If he's not, making chili for Chili.
It's time to stop! Where the fuck?
Maybe his survival instincts plays into the whole attire thing, right? We already know he swapped his clothes for whatever reason. Maybe Jason is a lot smarter than the audience thinks. Again, if you only seen part 1, 2, and 3, you don't have a whole lot to go off with Jason up until this point. Maybe Jason was trying to clean the clothes, cut them to size. And this was nothing more than just a survival tactic. And if you don't like these two complex theories about this, maybe Jason just likes fucking with people. Maybe Jason's a prankster. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. If you remember, in this movie in particular, we see one thing we never see again, and that's Jason smile, show emotion. So you know he genuinely likes fucking with Chris, and probably fucking with his victims. But Chris in particular. Tell me this face right here isn't Jason just having a jolly good old time, being so malicious, and be like, hey, you guys. I've always thought this scene was so fucking funny. Not that it really counts because it's a dream sequence, but at the end when Jason's like in the window, he's like, hee-haw. It's fucking classic, man. That's what I like about these earlier films. Like, Jason's not this mindless serial killer machine. He just kill and no emotions, anything like that. Parts 1 through 4 really show a side of Jason we never really see again. But the takeaway from that is if you go with the whole perverse angle, that really takes it down for me. For one, I'm not into that stuff, and 2, my Jason isn't into that in my head canon. It kills me every time I watch this movie and I see Jason smiling at Chris. It makes my day. So what do you think? Was the overflowing bathtub full of Chili's clothes a trap? Simply a display to play a cat and mouse game with Chris? Was it out of survival, just to wash their clothes and have them for extra baggage? Or did Jason turn Chili into Chili and there's a different meaning we don't know of, with him undressing people constantly.
Number 3!
Is that a body on top of the barn? This is another blink and you miss a moment that really interests me. Again, if I'm not breaking the fourth wall of the film, what is this? I'll show the clip right here in slow motion. You see right here, what is that? Now I have two theories about this. Now this kind of looks like a bag of feed. Or is it a human body? Because this disappears the next time Chris goes into the barn with Jason. I'll show that clip right here as well. Now I'm aiming more towards the bag of feed. But that also could be a body. You could be looking at somebody's back with a pair of pants. Kinda in a fetal position if you're looking from the back side. If that's the case, this person does not have a top on. So could this be Chili? That means Jason moved it before throwing Paul's body into the window. Now we know he hid most of the bodies inside of the house. However, we never get to see Chili's body. So could this be Chili? Or maybe even Paul. That's kind of the color of his sweater. The only thing we know for sure, this object or body had to be moved. So did Jason stash the body there for the time being? And did the classic trope of throwing the body through the window? We only get a few seconds of the clip, so it's really hard to decipher what exactly it is. I'm not against any of the three possibilities. So was it Paul? Was it a topless Chili? Or was it just a simple bag of feed? You decide.
I can only count to 4!
Is the barn Jason's new home? Now I theorize at this point Jason knew that his shrine has been raided. It's gone. And the film really puts an emphasis on these people not wanting to go to this barn. Like this barn is a very cliche, do not go inside this barn. And we know from all these POV shots, I throw up a little compilation right here, that Jason really loves residing in this barn. Since his shack was no longer an option, was Jason planning to make this his new home? I mean, it's kind of spacious. The only time the film doesn't portray this barn as a red flag is when Paul and Chris are loading hay. From that moment forward, it's a big no-no. We see Jason from POV. Anybody who enters gets killed, such as the bikers. You got Red. You got the cocaine guy, the big smoker from the 80s. Ali got attacked there. Shelly got attacked there. And even when Chili and Tommy Chong go in there, we can see that Jason's residing in there as well. We get that great shot, which I'll show right here. I don't think it's coincidence Jason spent so much time in this barn. I mean, it makes a great hideout. And the film all of a sudden portraying this as an eerie place that everybody feels uneasy. But their curiosity piques them so much that they go in there and ultimately meet their doom. To my understanding, this is nothing but a getaway cabin. So throughout the year, mostly, it's free. But all we know is Jason really took a liking to this barn. So much so, he spends majority of the film there. He only comes out to play peekaboo with a girl and shoot her in the eye, and then to kill the rest of the people. But like I said, majority of the people have been killed inside the barn because they went inside of the barn. So, was Jason planning on making this his new home?
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
Who called the cops at the end of the film? Was it Abel? Or was it the cashier from the store? I theorized in my last videos that Ralph was probably the one who called the police in part 1, when they showed up to save Alice. Again, it's only a theory, but considering how obsessed Ralph was with Camp Crystal Lake, going as far to sneaking into the cabins and the pantries to keep an eye on them. Now we know Ralph isn't around no more. So is Abel supposed to be the new Ralph? When we first meet him, he almost gets ran over by Chris. Because apparently she's blind as fuck.
Stop! What is it?
And at first he's portrayed as an older gentleman, a lonely desperado, but when he pulls out the eyeball, shit hits the fan. Now aside from his paranoia and his religious antics, could he be the one who took it upon himself to save the day by calling the police? If you think about it, there was a few hour stretch between the finale of this film and the time Chris woke up. So we know Chris didn't call the police. So did poor old Abel finally succumb to his curiosity, marched over to Higgins Haven, seen the aftermath, and then called the police? I would like to think so, because even though we get a small amount of Abel's character, I kind of feel like it's a missed opportunity to make his role in the film even greater, because I like the character. And sure, the Friday the 13th universe and films are known for throwaway characters, but that's mostly the over-sexualized teenagers, right? You fuck in the woods, you get killed. As far as we know, Abel never got killed. So did he play a bigger role behind the scenes that we never saw? Now the more logical approach would be the cashier from the store. However, I'm sure she did phone the police about what happened. Bikers are bullying customers, Shelly gets pissed off, run over their bikes. They have an incident where Ollie smashes the windshield, so they might be following up on the investigation. But would they really wait till the next day? But besides that, I don't think this biker gang is the type to deal with the law under any circumstances. We can see they took it upon themselves to get revenge because they was gonna burn down the barn to get revenge. They never meant to hurt people, like Ali says right here.
Maybe we shouldn't do this, Ali.
Nobody's gonna get hurt, okay, babe?
But they wanted to make a statement with their own bare hands on their conditions. So they probably told the cashier to shut the fuck up, that they're gonna handle it. Because they know if the police would have investigated that and they burned down the barn, all eyes will be on them. So I'm sure they're just playing a hush-hush game there. So did Abel step into the shoes of Crazy Ralph and become a hero that day behind the scenes? Or was it that rude-ass cashier? Number 6. What would have happened if the bikers successfully burned down the barn? Now I ask this question not in regards to the group of friends, but as opposed to Jason. Because we all know that Jason took refuge in this barn for whatever reason. And I truly think Jason was planning on making this his new home, like I stated earlier. But if they successfully burned that down, do you think the massacre would have happened instantly? Now believe it or not, I consider this Jason for the most part very patient. He does a lot of stalking in this film. He's very stealthy. It's not until really part 4 where Jason goes full on balls deep, like rage mode. Back-to-back killings like boom, 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 boom. And this one he kind of takes it easy. And what better way to piss off Jason than to set his new home on fire? Would he just go fucking Rambo with the machete and just kill everybody at once, starting with the bikers? Of course he wouldn't have had a problem picking off the rest of the group one by one. But for some odd reason, I don't think that if the barn was burned down that he would take refuge in the Higgins Haven cabin. That just doesn't sit well with me. It's too nice, it's too fancy, it's too functional for Jason, I think. It's not what Jason's used to. Because we already don't know why Jason stopped in this particular place to begin with. Other than probably running from the cops. Which you might think is a stupid idea, but if you think about it, in the last film, he was literally running from the cop. That being said, I think Jason was saving face. And for some reason, that barn really attracted him for some reason. But if you take that barn away, I believe he would have kept moving. And I actually believe that his next stop would have been the Jarvis residence. That whole situation would have happened a day earlier. And if that's the case, the only victims are going to be Tommy Jarvis, Trish Jarvis, and sweet smoking hot Mama Jarvis. It really is a cool what if scenario if you think about it. If they were successful in burning the barn, there was an infinite amount of possibilities that would have set off a chain reaction. And God knows what Jason would have did from that point on.
Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
What time does the opening take place? Now my initial thoughts from the news reports that this would be about noon, about 12 o'clock. However, while Big Papa Mustache is over here dropping the deuce, we see the clock here, if it's functional, it's almost about 6:40. Now one of the most interesting things about these first 4 films is trying to piece together the gaps. Coming fresh off of part 2, we don't know what time Jason woke up and made his way to the store while he swapped clothes and such. That also begs the question, how long did it take for him to walk there? How close is it to Camp Crystal Lake? How close is it to Packanack? How close is it to the Jarvis residence? While we don't know the exact time Jeannie got taken to the hospital, we can see that it's pretty damn bright. It's probably about noon, if not later. The opening of this scene right here is almost dark time. Considering the news reports, we know that they found the bodies. If it's already on the news, we can only assume that this is nighttime now. So what was Jason doing for the whole day? Did he simply take the time just to vanish in the woods again? Did it take him all day to walk here? Because it's not time when he kills the couple at the store. And it's not until the next day where we're introduced to Chris, Shelly, and the others. So when exactly did Jason arrive at Higgins Haven? We know when Chris and them first get there, Paul's already there. So we have not one but 2 huge chunks of time where we have absolutely no idea what Jason is doing at this point. So what did Jason do during these 2 huge time frames? You've heard my theory. What's your theory? When exactly did Jason arrive at Higgins Haven? Did he arrive the same moment as Chris? If he was there before, why didn't he already kill Paul? Number 8. Is there a toilet in Higgins Haven? I can only assume yes. Now the reason I wonder this is because we know it has plumbing because the pregnant chick takes a shower. However, Tommy Chong in there goes to the outhouse. Now I know I'm a guest at the cabin, but if I had to choose between good plumbing and good toilet paper, or spiders crawling up my ass at the outhouse, I'm probably going to pick the bathroom here. We never actually see a toilet, but we actually do see right here some toilet paper and some spray for the smell. Side note, why didn't Chuck wipe his ass? This is number 9. How did Jason get this lover boy's body up there? Now I know this is a pretty common question. I promise you I do try to keep these questions unique. But this one just baffles me and I find it fucking funny. Here's why. So you know a pregnant chick's taking a shower after they got some This dude's living the high life, getting him a beer, walking on his hands. He gets cut in half by Jason.
I cut it in half.
But how did he get the body way up there? Now if you look at this room, it's pretty bare bones. I mean they legit used a hammock as a bed. There's no ladder, and there's only one shelf. So my thought process is Jason cuts this dude, picks him up. I feel like Jason's on the hammock. He's like, whoa. Falling down, busting his ass. And then he's got to do it again with the other half. So he's like, fuck. God damn it. That's the only way I know how he did it. And that's fucking funny. And 10. Why did they take all day to take Jason's body in? Now I know this is jumping ahead to part 4, but considering they take place back to back, I always find it convenient to jump forward rather than jumping to the next film and jumping back. Does that make sense? It's most likely morning time when the police show up and find Chris and she's a little Looney Tune, you know. Blah, blah, blah. But then we see the intro to part 4 and it's nighttime. So did they really take all day to bring Jason's body in? Now I'm no forensic investigator or crime scene cleanup or what have you, but I imagine they would try to get the bodies back as soon as possible. Because the more the bodies decompose, the harder it's going to be in the long run for everything. It's like a chain reaction. Now I do imagine it would take time. Finding all the bodies. Some of the bodies are dismembered. They got to do a full sweep of the property, front to back, left to right, side to side, search every room. So yes, this is going to take time. But even the ambulance doesn't show up to take the bodies out until late that night. So my question is, what the fuck was they doing all day? I'll actually throw up a side-by-side comparison between the part 3 ending with Jason laying there and the beginning of part 4 with Jason laying there. Just a cool side-by-side picture to see. But that's going to wrap this video up, guys. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to kick it with me. You know I appreciate it. I actually had a few more questions on this, but for the sake of runtime and just being so minute, I threw them out. But I will say, the next video in part 4, which is my favorite Friday movie of all time, I have some juicy, juicy questions, my friend. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you there. I love you all. Adios.